Well, for some couples who have ethical issues with IVF, there's a relatively new option, a uterus transplant. CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson explains how this procedure is showing early success.
The birth of a child is a special event, and for Mallory and Nick, their son also made history. That's because his arrival marked the first time a uterus transplant recipient delivered a healthy baby outside of a clinical trial.
For us, this is what I feel like I knew that I was supposed to do this.
The transplant and the birth took place at the University of Alabama at Birmingham Medical Center under the direction of Dr. Paige Porrett.
My level of enthusiasm is over the moon, if that's the way we can rank it.
At 17, Mallory received the news that she was born without a uterus and would not be able to experience pregnancy. That changed, however, when she and her husband learned of Mallory being approved to receive a uterus transplant.
I think we were both in shock.
Yeah, I think that's the best way of putting it.
Dr. Porrett feels honored to help couples in this situation.
They get to experience the gestation together. And there are many individuals who would argue, and I'm sure that many of your listeners, Lori, really can identify with this, where having a child begins essentially right with that conception event, or the uterus, the baby growing inside the uterus.
While about a third of transplant patients currently reject the uterus within weeks, Mallory remained positive.
I never once thought, what if this doesn't work? I knew it would.
Mallory received hers from a deceased organ donor, although they can also be living. The surgery lasts up to 10 hours.
It is a transplant, and I would encourage everybody to recognize that when we say transplant, it means a much more complex surgical procedure than some of the other more common procedures that people get.
9 months after Mallory received her new uterus, doctors placed Mallory and Nick's child, generated through in vitro fertilization, into it.
I had all the stuff, like nausea and really tired and just all of the normal pregnancy symptoms, I guess.
Mallory feels the difficult process was definitely worth it.
I got to hold him and I was just very overwhelmed that he was actually there and he was healthy.
Nick and Mallory would like to have another if it's medically and financially feasible. For the last 10 years, medical institutions have largely covered the cost of uterus transplants. However, as they become more common, that's likely to change. Currently, insurance providers generally do not cover the procedure, but that too could change. Lori Johnson, CBN News.